In this video help, we're going to cover the new application for Hiker Biker Pro. This application was designed, and I'll give you an overview, for people that are sports enthusiasts who do hiking, biking, camping, and any number of things in the forest or deserts or wherever they may be. This is an internationally available app. It can be used in any country. And it has some things we're going to start up at the top of the screen. I'm just going to give you an overview of the application, and then we'll have a second video that covers more details. First of all, starting from the upper left and going across, there's a navigation for the entire app. You can see the different screens that are available, and we'll be covering these later. This is the screen we're on currently, which is the main screen. So when you open up the application, this is where it'll show you. The next drop down is the thing called a Do Action. And what Do Action does is it allows you to add new records, to do a find, to perform the find, to show all records after you've done a find, to return them back. You can go to the next record, previous record, and first records in any record list that you're in. The video help you're looking at right now is accessed on any screen using the video help button. There's a calendar on this application if you want to go to the calendar and look at scheduling different things as far as the calendar is concerned. There's a print where you can print any screen or portion of the screen if you'd like to. You can export data that you have in the application. On each screen that you're on, you can click export for that screen's table information and you can export it. There's developer support. If you click on this, it'll take you to the developer support site if you have questions or want to chat with a developer. The omit and show omitted is interesting. I'll explain how that works. If you're in a list view and you want to locate different records, the first thing you do is do a find. You start the find, and when you do a find, it reverts the plane, turns over the screen, and it gives you these little spy glasses. Any screen that is not in a portal, which is a portal listing, it will allow you to do a find in. Portals is a multi-record scrolling screen, similarly like the photo screen here where you can actually scroll this up and down. You cannot do a find in a scrolling window, but you can do it on any other screen. So what you would do is you would go ahead and find anything that you want by just clicking into that space and then typing in what you want as far as the location. Now if I put red in there, because I know I have something in there with red, I can say go. And it says, oh, well, guess what? You didn't type it in the correct space. It says the trail name. And so obviously I didn't type in the right thing. So I can either do one of two things. I can cancel, or I can go back in and modify that little area right there and put in something that will work. So I'm just going to cancel for the time being. And you'll see the script that flips back over. And what I really was trying to put in was Bell Rock Trail. Now Bell Rock, or any word within that in the phrase, would work. So if I did Bell, but if there was more than one Bell, what it would do is it'd bring up all records with Bell or Rock. If you put Bell Rock, it would get them all. Or if you just put trail, which would probably be everything, it would probably bring them all up, so that wouldn't work too well. Now, obviously on your drop-down menu, you have a list view here, which we'll talk about later. That's where you would do most of your lookups, but I'm going to point out something. If you do a find here, and then you go to the list view for that screen, whatever you chose here and selected will be shown there in the records, which is called records and selection, would be the number of records that were done when you did that find. Now in this application, there's only 2 records in it right now. You can see that up here. There's only 2. So what happens is if I had more than 2 records and I wanted to find every place that had the word Bell in it, there might be 1 to the number of records with Bell in it. Okay, if I click into this down here, I can bring up the keyboard at any time. I can also do things like use bold, italic, and underline if I wanted to put it into the space. I can click on this little button right up here, and what this does is it allows me to show how to do omitted or show all, and it shows me the count of records that are available. And if you click these arrows, it'll go back and forth, so you can go back and forth between records. Do not use the plus and negative over here. That adds a record and removes a record. And the issue we have with doing that is you shouldn't be adding new records in only one screen, which is the parent and the map screens. And the way you would know that is if you came up to the top of the screen and clicked on this right here, there would be a new button. If there's not a new button present, do not add new records in that screen. It's that simple. Okay, so let's look at the next thing on this screen. We have a money symbol. What is that? Well, in the expense track, there are different things that you're going to be putting in for expenses, and you can see it summarizes them. Well, this is kind of cool because what it does is no matter what country you're in, which there's about 50 some countries here, there's a list of all the money symbols. So if I scrolled through them, I would have them all in here, and I just pick what's ever appropriate. So if I pick this one and it goes back, you'll see that it's changed the money symbol on the top and the bottom up here to whatever country you're in. So it just makes it much simpler to have an international number. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to the main screen on this tab. And I'm going to cover some of the reasons why we have this screen, and then we're going to do the other tabs on a separate video. So let's kind of figure out what we're in. We're in a screen where whoever actually is creating the record puts their name in. Now, when you do a new record, each time you do a new record, it's going to give you a complete new trail map and location, and all these tabs are be filled in based on that new record. So if I did a new record now, everything here would go blank. All the stuff that would be in here would be blank, and we could add all of our new information in there. So in this case, I'm doing my own, okay? And I want to go, and I live in Sedona, Arizona, so I have Bell Rock Trail, which is one of my favorites. It's in the village of Oak Creek where I live, and the nearest city that's close to me could either be Sedona, which is up the road about 9 miles. And I get the elevation, which is 4,400 feet. The highest elevation in the village is 5,100. I'm on Highway 179, and off of Highway 79, where the actual trail is at, is 50 yards off the trail. So it's not very far. It's just a short walk. By the time you park, you're almost on the trail. Okay, the next thing is the type of trail. It's a hiking limited designated bike trail. So there are some bike trails you can't use. And in this application, we'll be showing you some more tabs up there that show you how you can get all the bike trails identified. So let's look at the trailhead name. If you go up to the posted sign at the head of the trail, this is going to be the head thing. Now, obviously, you could have done your research before you actually got into this particular screen. And the way you can do that, and we'll cover this later, is there's a bike website where you can look up websites, and you can add them to a library of websites. And you then can bring up or look at those websites to get the information that we're filling in right here. You don't have to dream it up or go to the sign. When I said the sign, it'll say the sign name. It will give you some of this information, but websites are sometimes more fulfilling. Type of parking, RV, trucks, and buses. So it's got a lot of parking. Number of parking slots. There's a frontage road also. And there's more parking on the frontage road, and there's actually three separate parking lots that you can go to. And I just made up a telephone number. There's actually not a managed trail as far as a number is, but the Forest Service will have information if you need it, and you could look up the Forest Service number. Details of the trail information. This is really where you would go on a website to fill in this information. If there is a street address, when in some cases trails in Sedona have a street you go off of with an address so that you can go to that trail. And you obviously could put in the trail name, which is in red over there. The application can, when you do a search, you can look for a state where you want to look at those particular trails that are available in that state that you've documented, either by zip code and state if you wanted to. Here's access. It's open for 24 hours a day. It's year-round seasons. There are no fees. Now that is kind of a misnomer. You can park and walk in and look, but if you're going to walk the trails or bike the trails, there is a fee, and it's called a Red Rock Pass. And a one-day pass can actually be purchased in several locations, ranger stations, and so forth. The locals have their own place where they get their passes, and they can get them year-round. There is a Sedona Forestry Service right in as you come into Sedona. So that's the kind of things you would run into no matter where you're at. You'd have to look for those locations if you have any fees and learn about them. Trail conditions, loose gravel and rocks. It's red rocks. They're always there. No camping, no. And it says trail maps on site, yes. All the rest of this is no. But you can do, there's no showers or anything like that, but you can bike and trail, and all the trails are designated by placards on each trail. And then you can take notes over here to leave information about it. If you went to the trail and you wanted to add stuff, this is a scrolling field, so you can add as many notes in there as you'd like to. Okay, so this is the first video. We're going to now go to a second video. We're going to cover each one of the tabs and the subscreens within the application. Thank you.